guys, how's it going? Today we're going to be working on several fairly unrelated projects out here in the garden. First off, I want to show you a little bit of damage that our garden sustained when a storm came through. The storm was way more mild than we thought it was going to be. We were getting reports of 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts and $half size hail, flash flood warnings. We did get a tremendous amount of rain, which that's kind of where some of the damage occurred, but we did lose one tree, a young tree. We are going to release more predatory insects, and I want to run through those. These are more for two-spotted spider mites. We have, not just we, in this area, have had an explosion of two-spotted spider mites. Like, it's worse than I could ever remember. So we are reapplying to really target those in our garden, and we have had to do some spot spraying because they've defoliated some things, and I'll also show you the damage from that. We are going to pick blackberries and then maybe some strawflowers. See, it's very unrelated. Let's pop over here onto the west side. You can see like how wet our ground is, and the bricks are still wet. I mean, water was just pooling everywhere. It didn't flood anywhere for us, and I haven't seen any reports of that in the area, but we have had a few new rangeland fires start last night from lightning. I think that they recorded like over 2,000 lightning strikes last night in our area, and we're already dealing with huge rangeland fires, closest they've ever been to our house. We're fine here, and I don't think the fires will reach us here, but it has affected so many people in our area. It's a tough deal. The rain did sort of settle some of the smoke in the air for now, and we don't have 100-degree temperatures for the next at least like 7 days or so, so that's a positive thing. But take a look at our coleus here in our urns. Look at this. It just, like, it's not broken. This one might be broken. Yeah, this one's broken. This one, yep, doesn't look good. But that rain just came through and pummeled some of our more tender things. Yeah, that's broken. Yep. Okay, so we have one little stem of coleus left in that pot. And these weren't looking the best anyway. I'm not planting the Priscilla supertunias anymore. I remember now why I stopped planting it. It's such a pretty flower, so gorgeous, but they always look like they need to be deadheaded. And the spent blooms, they do not inhibit the plant's ability to keep blooming. It just makes it look a little bit like less aesthetically pleasing, if that makes sense. This coleus looks pretty good. This one looks like it's got some broken branches maybe. I don't know, I'm gonna leave it alone, see what happens. And honestly, I mean, based on reports of what I'm hearing everybody else has lost, like, this doesn't bother me at all, not even a little bit. It's just something that happens in the garden, and we all have to deal with stuff like that from time to time. Let's go take a look at the tree. So it's a Renaissance reflection birch, and this one is a tree we've already replaced one time. Not because of a storm, but something else, and it never quite matched the other two. So that's why I'm not super bummed about it. We'll just replace it when we can find another one. Look at that. It just snapped right off. And I mean, we did have some strong wind, but I'm also seeing what looks to be bore holes in here. That's interesting. See those points of entry? They weaken birch trees in particular. Yeah, that might be a little hole right down through there. Yeah, look at that. Look at that frass coming out. So there's something in there, borer feeding, and then there's like that, the frass, it's like the wood shavings that they leave behind. Dang, makes me want to go check all the rest of our birch trees. You know, these other two look good. I don't see any points of entry for any boring insects along the trunk. They look pretty clean. Well, that makes sense then, why we lost this tree. We usually have to treat birch trees with a systemic insecticide. It's not something I love doing, but in order to have birch trees and some other types of trees, willows being one of them, we have to treat them, and we just wait till they're done blooming, so it's not going to hurt any of the pollinators, but it keeps the boring insects out. This one apparently either came with borers or we didn't use enough. Dang. Okay, so that's the damage that we have sustained. I don't think that there's any more. So really, no complaints from me. We'll just deal with those things. And I think I'm going to clean those urns out here soon. And this is a year that I'm going to be doing a lot more fall planters, because I have been cleaning out planters more than I ever have with things that just haven't thrived. But it's, you know, been kind of weather driven too. It's been so incredibly severe this summer. I think we had, what, 3 weeks of like extreme over 100-degree temperatures with no rain and a tremendous amount of wind and spider mites. Let me show you what the spider mites have done right here. Such a positive video today. Look at this. Look at my poor limelight hydrangeas. This is usually a absolutely glorious bank of plants, and it was almost overnight. I am not even kidding you. I mean, we're pretty attentive to our plants around here, and we noticed one day they were looking a little off. So usually when that happens, we just think it's a water issue, you know, and we rectify that. And then it was almost overnight. All the leaves dropped and they were just covered in webbing. This one looks the best out of all of them. And these two, they're pushing new growth, so I'm not worried about them. They'll be fine. See, they've got new leaves, but they just look crummy for now. I hear the boys fighting over here. Hey, you two, I hear you. Where are you? Oh, they're over here. Russell. The other area where we've dealt with spider mites are on boxwoods, so I'm going to be releasing these predatory insects on the boxwoods. And then in front of our chicken coop, around our chicken coop, oh my goodness, the amount of damage on our buddleia, and there's been a few plants out in the south garden. So we have already released some of the predatory insects, but it was more directed at thrip activity because at the time we released the bugs before, we didn't have spider mites or we didn't see them. There was really very minimal evidence, if at all, of anything like that. And I was talking to the guys and they said, yeah, it's just all of a sudden just this huge explosion. So like all the hop swarms in particular around here are struggling with it. So anyway, that's what we are going to do. And this is what we've got. We've got 3, I think, vials of the Swarovski mites, which do attack thrips and whitefly, but they also handle 2 spotted spider mites. So we've got this vial, and I think there's a couple more in here. Oh, there's 3 more. So we've got several. I think there's 125,000 predatories in each one of these vials. And a huge thank you to Copert for sending these out. I think it's a fairly new thing that they're available to home gardeners. So anyway, it's fun to be able to give these a try. We've also got Spical. I don't know if I'm saying these right. And these are also a type of predatory mite, but they're more of a generalist, I believe, in that they will do thrips and whiteflies, but also 2 spotted spider mites and also pollen, I think. I don't know if that's maybe the Swarovski as well, but anyway. Yeah, and then we've got Spidex in this bucket. These are one that specifically target the 2 spotted spider mite, and I don't know if you can see kind of like that red dust. Let me get my other camera here. If I can try to hold still, you can see them moving around. See that? So I think there's 100,000 of these right here, and they're all mixed with vermiculite, so it makes for easy spreading. And I think I'm just gonna go get like a little scoop so we can scoop some up and then just, you know, sprinkle them on the boxwoods. And I am so thankful I did not do this project yesterday afternoon. I was thinking about it, and because they dropped them off about midday. And then I decided to put them in the root cellar in the cool, let them chill there, and then do it this morning, not really realizing that we were going to get as much rain as we did, because I don't know if that would affect things, but I imagine it would wash some of them away or dislodge them from where I want them to be. The thing about these predatory insects is that you can't really apply them as a preventative, and I know we've talked about all of this in a prior video. There needs to be food for them to eat. Otherwise, like the Spidex, I think they'll starve. If there's not any 2 spotted spider mites, that's all they eat. Don't quote me on any of this, I'm just learning, but I believe that they will starve if they don't have any food to eat, but they've got plenty in our garden, so they should be just happy campers. And then the other ones will eat multiple different things plus pollen, but they don't web up plants, they don't eat plants, and they're very specific as to what they will eat in terms of insects. So they don't eat the good stuff, they eat the bad stuff, which is kind of like this miracle bugs. Anyway, since we've already kind of talked through all of this, I'm just going to try to get this project done pretty quickly and get them spread around. A lot of them will end up around the house on boxwood hedging, things that I really don't want them to sustain more damage than they already have. And you know, these boxwoods had spider mites really badly. Oh boy, it's been a couple of years ago. You can still see the damage. And that's why I'm so wanting the boxwoods in particular to be okay, because they don't recover, like their leaves don't recover color after they've sustained damage. They keep that speckly appearance, and they'll push new growth, you know, and we're hoping eventually that new growth, new nice growth will cover up all of the old crummy growth. But we don't want these plants to have any more, and these have already had it, and we have sprayed these one time, but it's been a while, so I don't think there's enough residual of anything left on these plants, especially after all the rain, to hurt any of the bugs we are releasing today. We've also done a full video on spider mites and the things that we use to spray, and we will link that down below. These things just, you know, it's part of gardening. It's part of what we have to deal with, storms, bug damage, and it's tempting to want to show only the, you know, beautiful side of things, but that is not reality for any of us. We all deal with stuff like this. We're all in it together. All right, guys, so I'm just gonna get these applied. We're just gonna go all over the place and do it. So here we go. Got it all done. 750,000 beneficial insects just released in the garden. Isn't that wild? And I was able to make it everywhere, all the way around the garden, including in the greenhouse where we've got some ivy topiaries. Ivy's so susceptible to mites. So I did treat those, all the roses, all the hydrangeas, just everything, all the buddleia, everything that are kind of just prone to mite damage. So that feels really good. It is so muggy out here today. Oh, I'm not used to this humidity. Like, it's not as hot, but I think, I don't know what percentage we're at, but with all the rain, it's just super duper muggy. But the blackberry crop out here, that's what we're gonna do next. I just kind of want to give you an update too on how they're doing. We've got 3 different varieties. Right up front here, we have the triple crown, which these are enormous. And you can see just how loaded these plants are. Like even down here, hold on, look at this one. Look at those, enormous berries. There are 2 of them right here. These are all thornless blackberries, so they're not gonna be hard to get into at all. Now with these, really with all of them, you have to wait till they're super squishy before you pick them. Otherwise, they're so tart. So I really just wanna pick the ones that are ready, which means I mean, we'll get a decent amount, maybe enough to make a batch of jam, but probably not a tremendous amount. We're just gonna have to keep coming out here. A lot of these produce fruit through about a 6-week window in the summertime. So those 2 are triple crown. These 2 are black satin, which actually looks like I need to get in here and do a little bit of grooming. Smaller berries, these are a little bit further behind. They don't necessarily have the same production window. Some will be a little bit of a later summer producer, while some are midsummer, some are earlier. And then the last 4 here are the Primark 45, which is a variety that produces berries on both first-year canes, primo canes, and second-year canes, the flora canes. So they're kind of like an ever-bearing raspberry. Look at these. These aren't as big of berries, but they are tasty. Oh, oh, so good. And they're warmed by the sun right now. Oh, out of those two, Triple Crown, a little bit sweeter. Both incredibly delicious. I've got my well-loved berry baskets right here. So we're just gonna go through and see what we can find. There's a grasshopper. Out, get. Yeah, things are looking really good. And then our raspberries, overall, they're looking pretty good. I need to get in here and clean out some of these canes. All of these raspberries, we've got two varieties. There's Fall Gold, which is my favorite, and Heritage, which are a standard kind of red type, are both everbearing type raspberries. So you can go in late winter, early spring and just mow them all the way down to the ground. It's a really easy way to prune them, and then you only get one crop later in the season. It's usually a bumper crop and it's usually nice big berries, and it takes kind of the guesswork out of pruning. That's usually the method I use, but I did it differently this year because just like the Primark 45 blackberries, they produce berries on first year wood at the very top of the cane. So like this is a first year cane, and if you look at the top here, you can see that we'll have some berries in a little while. And then what I would do is come in late winter, early spring, and I would follow down to right below where the berry production is, and I would cut that off. And then right down here, we would get June production. And then after the June production is done, then that cane is dead. Just like this right here. You can see where I came in last winter, cut off last year's berries, and then we had June berries this year. So what I need to do is come in and cut out all of those first year canes. It just creates a little bit more work. You do get more berries throughout the season that way. I don't know that it's actually worth it, because now we're gonna come in here and these are thorny. These are not like super fun to work in, but we need to come in and clean out those second year canes, and everything that will be left will be the primo canes, the first year canes, which we will get some late summer, early fall berries. Okay, I'm gonna get my kneeling pad and we're gonna get after this. My goodness, like I'm just looking down in here and just seeing the most enormous berries. They're so gorgeous. That one's not quite done. Look in here. Boy, if I could give you a recommendation for blackberry varieties, I don't have a tremendous amount of experience, but let me tell you, these Triple Crowns are phenomenal. Okay, let's get to picking and I will show you what we end up with at the end. Well, I could not be more pleased with today's harvest. Look at how gorgeous these are. Oh, so these first 4 baskets right here, these are the Triple Crown. Look at my hands, are all dyed pink. These definitely huge, big berries. And then the back half here, so these 5 containers, these are the Primark 45, which are like a longer, still a huge berry. I find that these are definitely just a fraction of a percent sweeter than those right there. They're all really good. And these plants are still so loaded with berries. In fact, you'll come along and see some that look like they're ready to pick almost, but they're just not quite there. Let's see, like toward, oh, missed one. I could probably go back through here and pick a ton of berries that I missed. Oh yeah, look at this, geez. Kind of out of room though in my basket. But like right in here, especially, there was a lot that looked really close to being ready. And I mean, I think we're probably like a day or two away from being able to harvest again. But we're just gonna have several weeks of wonderful berries. And you can see these green ones too that are still forming up. Yeah, and look at this. Look at how many are on here. Oh, Definitely pleased. Now these are, I want to say, are they 3 years old at this point? I think they are. And we planted them just in a raspberry structure. I had it built the same exact way because I thought I was going to plant raspberries in this row as well, and then decided to go with blackberries, which I do think, like, we have added a center wire. It's like a wire cable right here. So there are 3 in this one as opposed to just the outer ones on the raspberries. But I think I might want to add one more layer so that we can weave the canes up through each one of the layers and kind of keep them separated a little bit more. And while they still look kind of like a mess just a little bit, I need to get out here and do a little cleanup on them, cut out some dead canes and weave these back in. I think they're doing pretty well, even though this isn't like the most ideal structure for blackberries. And I fertilize these once a year in the spring. Usually I put some soil acidifier in here and some berry tone. And that is what they get. Other than that, it's just consistent water. They have their own drip system, all 3 of these berry beds do. I find that they're very easy maintenance. Very, very pleased. Put these extras in here. Now we can go make something wonderful in the kitchen. I think I will save that project for tonight, and I would like to go pick some straw flowers now. But first, dang weeds. Just hiding in there. All right, we are here in the cut flower garden, and you can see the straw flowers right here. I didn't grow an enormous amount of them this year, just a handful, but I always seem to be late to the game when it comes to harvesting these. And I love it when they look like this, as opposed to all the way open like this. And I'll probably harvest all of them, but what I want to do is I just want to pop the tops. I don't even need the stems. So I'm just going to go in and just clean all of the flowers off of these plants, and I'm going to lay them out here in these bamboo trays. They're already dry, which is awesome, and they maintain their color. So I like to have these for projects in the wintertime. So we've got a beautiful yellow, a really pretty pink, burgundy. This is pretty, the pink with the white center. We've got white, a bright red, kind of an orangey color, and then this really pretty apricot. The other flowers I have in here that make for really good dried flowers are the gomphrena, and I've got the Audrey white, we've got the orange, and then we've got a pink, and then this is like a very light pink. I don't know what variety that is. Oh, right here. So this is pink gomphrena, and this must be raspberry, maybe? Yeah, raspberry cream gomphrena. Then we also have status right here, which maintains its color when dry. And then we've got eryngium over there. That's the sea holly right here. Isn't that pretty? I have the hardest time though cutting this plant because can you see the amount of pollinator activity going on right now? This plant is an absolute magnet for all pollinators. So I usually never get it cut when it's in nice color, and it does fade if you leave it connected to the plant. If you harvest it when the stems are really vibrant blue, it'll dry vibrant blue, but I just cannot do it every year. I mean, my goodness. Yeah, you can already see here how it's starting to fade out a little bit, and the stuff over here is a little bit more vibrant. It's just about the most prickly plant we have on our property, and that's the one that all the pollinators want. Pollinators are loving the echinacea though as well. Started all of these from seed last winter, you guys. Aren't they gorgeous? Okay, but we are here for straw flowers today, so let's get those all harvested. Oh, a little breeze has picked up, so it's starting to feel a little bit better. It was so still for most of the day and so muggy. Oh, it feels nice. We did get most of the straw flowers harvested, all of the ones that I liked the shape of. The rest of them, I just left them out there because they are pretty to look at, and there were things flying all around them and on them, and So anyway, left some color out there. But look at this tray. It's absolutely brimming full of color. And they are so pretty. And again, I like it when they look more like this, a little bit more closed, as opposed to, you know, like these are ones that I don't really lean heavily on using. It might be kind of nice to have some of them in some cases, but I don't really like it when they've discolored in the center, unless they're still kind of yellow. Like this right here, whoop, that's really pretty still. And then the white ones are just gorgeous. Got some of these kind of more pinky burgundy looking ones. These are probably my favorite though, for sure. The apricot color is so nice. And then there was a darker, that kind of darker orange right there. Anyway, so I'm just gonna leave these here in the flower shed. In fact, I'm gonna hopefully not spill this tray. I'm carrying it one-handed. We're just going to slide it right in here or not. Hold on. We're just gonna put it right here in the top. There we go. There was another tray sitting there, but that's okay. So any moisture that's left, like in the stems and in the center here, will dry, but they'll keep their color. They look so pretty. And we'll have some color to use later on this winter when there is no color out here. It's just one of those things that I have to make it a point to come out and harvest them because I so enjoy looking at all the flowers out here. Most of the time, that's just what I want to do. I just want to enjoy the way they look out in the garden. But I always regret it come winter when I don't have anything to use or very little to use. So we're going to have to come through here and start harvesting Status. Looks so beautiful. Look at that. The yellow is so cheerful. And then there's this kind of pale yellow that I love. And then this is the something light blue, I think. And it is quite blue. It's more blue than purple. One other thing I wanted to show you, update you on before we are done today, are the rows of flowers that we seeded after the tulips and daffodils came out. Right here, don't they look awesome? So we have a row of sunflowers. These are the sunspot variety, so they only get, oh, I want to say like 3 to 4 feet tall. And then we've got a row of cosmos. There's a little gap in the row because the drip tape got a hole in it and it was just spraying water and soil everywhere and it kind of messed up the seeds right there. That's all right though. You won't even be able to see that little hole here in a little bit because the zinnias will grow about 36 inches tall. This is a whole row of the California Giants and it's just a mix of bright, happy color. And then we've got another row of zinnias and these are actually specific varieties and I just color blocked those. So it's going to be beautiful. Now we do have one open row and a couple of crops I need to pull. So this is where the ranunculus were. Those are drying down in the studio right now. So we'll probably come in with some kind of a short season something, not sure yet what. And then I've got the corn cockle here is done, so I need to pull that. And I can't remember what I had here, but that's clearly done. So we'll pull that and then we'll have 2 more spots for some things. And the Cresspedia here is also a really good one for drying. It maintains its color. Super easy to grow too. Kind of whimsical. I was also noticing that our sunflowers are starting to bloom. So exciting. You know, if it's going to be super hot, at least we get some beautiful things from it. And you guys, that is going to do it for today's projects. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you're having a great day and we will see you in the next one. Bye. P.S. Wanted to show you what I did with all the blackberries. I was able to make 1 batch of blackberry jam, which I did remove most of the seeds. There's very few in here, but it turned out just absolutely beautiful. Got some toast here. So good, you guys. And I'm freezing the rest. I've got 1 sheet pan in the freezer at the moment and then 1 more whole cup that I need to freeze. Pretty successful first harvest of the blackberries.